Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 29th of November for the Sun or the Ascendant. Now what I'm going to do is give you a broad overview of the major strands that are going to be influencing us all, and then please stay with me. I'll dive deep to give you in forensic detail your zodiac sign forecast. This week begins with a momentous astrological moment. The Sun and Mercury are so tightly together as we see it from Earth that they are in cazimi. This is going to see the power of the Sun magnify the influence of Mercury. Mercury technically is in detriment in the sign of Sagittarius where this event occurs, but I actually really quite like Mercury in Sagittarius. I think it's very thirsty for knowledge, it loves travel, it can be very adventurous, and the Sun and Mercury coming together suggests that we are going to have a greater desire to inform ourselves, but inform ourselves with higher ideals, the bigger picture, philosophy, history, any kind of background research, whether it's into the family tree or a business plan, can really benefit from this combination. Also very good for contractual discussions as well. Now we know that the world environment is challenged severely by COVID. If COVID wasn't there, I think a lot of us would want to inject our existence with some kind of spontaneity and adventurism. But we can still use our minds to achieve that. And Mars in the sign of Scorpio, which it governs, is forging a very compassionate link to Neptune. Now this suggests that we can dive deep in our thinking and the things that we explore, the knowledge that we gain in a very productive way. But also this week, the Sun is going to go on to forge a very stable link with Saturn. Now of course Saturn gets a bad astrological press, but it's very much to do with boundaries, stability, the structures that we're trying to build up that are positive. Of course sometimes Saturn will limit us around the things that aren't working so well. But this is a lovely angle because the Sun in Sagittarius is very much about freedom, and Saturn in the sign of Aquarius, also about freedom, is the ruler of that sign, the co-ruler. So where we're progressive and we're growing our situation and being more pioneering, but we're doing it in a step-by-step, thorough, well-researched way, Saturn supports the Sun in a very constructive manner. Now that brings us to that incredibly powerful total solar eclipse which occurs on Saturday. If you want to watch my deep dive video into this, please see beneath this video. Now this event is broadly going to still be in a sextile with Saturn, but it's also going to forge a quincunx with Uranus. So I think one of the things that we must embrace over the next 6 months, the range of influence of this final Sagittarius Gemini polarity eclipse in the series, before we go more into the Taurus Scorpio season of next year, and we've already had the Taurus lunar eclipse, the first phase of that. I think what we've got to just bear in mind is that the position of the Sun in the 9th house is about going for it. Uranus in the 2nd house is about more being conscious of our resources. So because they're not quite aligning very well, one of the things that we're going to need to work hard on, all of us, over the next half year is using our resources in a more constructive, practical way, and not spending money just for the pleasure of it alone. So we're going to be looking to invest in things that have some kind of ongoing practical credential rather than living in the moment quite so much. So I think all of this is asking us to become much more mindful of our resources. But please stay with me for your in-depth forecast. But if you are new to my channel, I would be honoured if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. Also, if you'd like to get your free daily horoscope, written horoscope, fired to your device each morning, please see the link beneath this video. And if you'd like to get your personal forecast for next year, you can do so now and get the rest of this year free, plus a character analysis, plus 30% off. Also, please see the link below. Hello Virgo, and welcome to your in-depth forecast for week commencing the 29th of November. Your ruler is Mercury, the planet of communication, but the planet which is very much to do with logic, your dry assessment of situations due to your Earth rulership, means you're always looking for some kind of tangible benefit from whatever you're working upon. But as this week begins, Mercury is exactly side by side as we see it from the Earth with the radiance of the Sun in your fourth house. This is the sign of Sagittarius. So anything to do with home plans, changes, perhaps you're thinking about working from your abode, starting a new enterprise, providing services to your local community, working with a family member, providing services that have some kind of domestic benefit, or changing things so there's more flexibility around your family life. All of these things are really blessed this week. But of course Saturn is the planet of structure, and that's been in your sixth house full time since the 17th of December last year. The sixth house is very much in keeping with the energy of your sign, but Saturn of course can be quite retracting, but it's actually forging an excellent link with the Sun too this week. So if you really want to restructure that home situation, perhaps declutter, decorate as a last minute exercise before visitors at Christmas, or think about moving altogether, your timing is absolutely perfect. Now of course Mars, the planet of passion, continues in the sign of Scorpio, which means that your thinking is very Gemini-like and your drives mean there's plenty of passion washing around. If you're single, I think that this and its link to Neptune could give you the desire to reach into that potential situation if you instinctively feel someone likes you. But what the Sun, Mercury and Saturn are saying to you is do be guided by your sixth sense, how it feels, and not just how it might work, which is something that you're very conscious of. By the end of this week we do have a total solar eclipse which is going to provide a backdrop of energy for the next 6 months. So expect to be reshaping that home, emotional or security side of your situation over this next half year. Is there a catch? Well, it's just that Uranus is in an obtuse angle to the total solar eclipse. And there is a big part of what's coming next year is going to want to see you be free to experiment more, perhaps more than you've ever done in your whole life. You started to get a taste of that energy on the back of the last Taurus lunar eclipse. So this is the last in the series of the Gemini solar eclipse pivot on the axis, which has been much more to do with home, emotion, and your feelings on one hand, Sagittarius, and how you fit into the wider world, which is Gemini. So this is the last of those eclipses, but I think the essential mix of this message is that for a lot of people, I think you're going to be changing where you live. And if you are going to stay put, you're going to change other elements of your life, which could have an impact on your support structures. You know, for example, you might start wanting to work further away from home and then be back home on a much more ad hoc basis. And that could take a bit of juggling, but the need to change up your immediate environment is the message of this week.